Welcome to the Dundee Voices podcast, where we shine a spotlight on the people behind Dundee's third sector. In this episode, I speak to Rachel Duke from the Hearing Voices Network, a hub for people who hear voices or have other sensory hallucinations. Stay tuned to hear about how Rachel connects with people who hear voices, despite the fact that she's never experienced them herself. Hi there, Rachel.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
So this is the Haven. This is our main office, where all the staff kind of operate out of. It's a chance for us to get all our work done, and it's a little bit quieter than downstairs, so we can kind of get our busy work done. So I'll show you into the next area.
Yes, please.
So this is kind of our staff kind of quiet area space. We sometimes do training in here. We get a chance to have kind of personal conversations that we're needing to have, especially about community members or anything that's going on, and it just gives us that chance to kind of work and operate out of. Our main area is a drop-in centre, which allows people to come in 5 days a week for whatever that they're needing, whether it's mental health support, whether it's coming in to use the community cafe, whether it's our groups or drop-in. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities for people to kind of come in and use our service for whatever they need. I'll show you now downstairs. So this is our community kitchen. It's run by Lawrie and also our volunteers. We are very volunteer led, and without them we couldn't run our kitchen. We offer hot meals every day, and we offer a space for people to learn to gain confidence and join in with the kitchen. And we also offer groups out of this kitchen as well. So it's kind of basically the heart of our operation, and it's really important to our community members. So I'll show you now to our quiet area. So this is our quiet space. It used to be our art room, but we've recently changed it over so that we've given people a chance to have somewhere quiet to kind of relax, especially with voice hearers that can get easily overstimulated. So it's given that chance. We usually have mood lighting on in here. They can come in and read, or they can just relax. It doesn't have to be anything that they don't have to do a particular activity. But yeah, it's just given that space for some people to relax for a little while.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for showing me the space today.
Thank you for coming in.
I'm really looking forward to having you in the studio and learning a bit more about what Haven does. Hello, Rachel, and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Very well, thank you. Very well. So tell me a little about the origins of the Hearing Voices Network.
So the Hearing Voices Network Dundee was set up in 1998 by Pat Webster, who found that there was a need for a group to meet up about hearing voices. There wasn't anything in Dundee. There was no kind of formal support. There was no one talking about it. So they felt that there was a chance to meet up. I think it was 4 people who started it, and it was on the mental health wards that they kind of first met up. Just a chance to talk, and it wasn't just people who were voice hearers, it was also kind of carers of people who were working with people, just to have that kind of mutual peer support of what was going on for people around them.
Yep, so really it was a response to a gap in services in Dundee, and this was started to sort of fill that gap then.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely something that was really needed, and it's still needed today.
And is the Hearing Voices Network exclusively for people that hear voices, or what's the sort of people that they support?
We are open. So our tagline would be that we are the Hearing Voices Network Dundee. We are there to support people who hear voices and come across any extraordinary experiences. So that's anything from hearing things to seeing things to sight, sound, touch. But we are also there to support anyone who comes from any other mental health conditions. We are a full drop-in centre, and people can come in and use us anytime they need us.
Okay, so focused at voice hearers, but also including people with sort of exceptional sensory experiences, or just mental health challenges as well.
Yeah, any mental health challenges, people can come in and talk to us.
And you said that the charity was started in 1999 as well.
1998.
88, thanks for correcting me.
1998.
So that's quite a long time, almost 30 years they've been operating then. Wow, it's amazing to see a charity going on so long. So tell me a bit about your own journey as well. So what was your own journey towards working with the Hearing Voices Network Dundee?
So I have always kind of worked, my background was in support work and caring, but I am from the Hilltown. So it was always something I was aware of growing up that was there. Well, I would have been 8 when it opened. So I always knew that Haven was there. And it was something that I was kind of interested in. I always I floated between a few different jobs, but I always knew I wanted to help people. And that's anytime anyone was, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to help people. So when I saw the job opportunity came up, it felt like it was something that was right for me. And I've now been there for 5.5 years.
Yep. And is voice hearing something that's affected you personally to shape your journey towards it, or is it just something you were curious about?
It was something I was curious about. I have suffered from anxiety since I was a child, so I've had a lot of experience with mental health. But no, not voice hearing wasn't something, but it was something that intrigued me, and I found, and with good right, because some of the people that I work with, and actually most of the people we work with, are very interesting people.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's a very interesting experience that people go through.
I think it's really interesting as well, because something we hear a lot about mental health these days is lived experience and using our own experiences to support others. Your lived experience might be a little different from the people you support. So what's been maybe some of the bonuses of having your own lived experience that differs from theirs, or what's been some of the challenges there? Have you learned a lot?
I would say that the bonus of it is that people it doesn't matter what kind of mental health challenges you've had, if they find out that you've been through something, they're a lot more willing to trust you, because you understand something that they're going through. A lot of people who hear voices are very anxious and very untrusting to talk about it because there's a lot of stigma around it. Yeah. So knowing that someone's been through maybe something similar and that it can be quite difficult to open up about, so knowing that there's like a similarity there is really important for people.
Yeah. That's really interesting. And with the people that you're supporting, what are some of the emerging trends that you're seeing right now? What are some of the things that are coming up with the people that you're supporting? So
a lot, we're finding that it's a lot trauma-based. There's a lot of trauma-related issues that people have gone through, and that's usually can end up of triggered voices. So we're a very trauma-informed organisation, looking at how we can support people through that. We are also seeing, in the last few years, more and more people who are autistic or have ADHD, that because of the way in which people are processing things, they can then develop voices along with that as well. But there's so many reasons why people hear voices and so many things that can kind of affect it. There's not like one shoe fits all sort of thing.
Yep, so will be different voice hearing journeys for different people. You mentioned trauma, and trauma is something that there's a big awareness growing around trauma. It's becoming more of a focus for services. I'm just interested to hear a bit more about what are the links between trauma and voice hearing. What's the relationship between those two things? So
what I've came across is that when someone, there seems to be a process that when something traumatic has happened to someone, it can start with maybe their inner voice, and then it can kind of exceed to something else. One of the things I'm always very honest with people is we can't, because I can't hear what's going on in someone else's head, we're not here to define whether an intrusive thought is a voice or whether there's a voice in someone's head. Yeah. So when someone has experienced something that can affect them, there tends to be that reaction of that inner monologue or another, or potentially who the person that caused that trauma could be the voice that they're hearing. Okay. So that we find quite regularly when something really traumatic has happened to someone, that's the voice that they're hearing inside their head. And
is this like the brain's way of trying to cope or adapt to things that have happened then?
Yeah. Okay. It's one of the hardest things that people struggle with, is that this thing that was really traumatic that happened to them, they're now having to relive because their brain's trying to cope with the situation that's happened.
Right, okay. It almost sounds like there's some similarities to like flashbacks and other things that we see commonly with trauma then.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. That's really interesting. And is there things you're noticing in the supports you're doing with people or in the groups, where is there certain other topics, things that are happening in the world or common things that people are stressed about just now?
People are just scared of the world right now. There's so much going on, and there's so many big things out there, and obviously with the way the world is, with wars, with
politics,
with cost of living crises, the world, it feels like it's getting bigger, and in a way that we can't control.
I feel that a lot just now.
Again, it's one of the reasons why we're a drop-in centre, so that people can come in when they need us. There's no obligation to kind of come certain times. It's there for when people need us and need somewhere safe to go, and to talk to their peers as well.
I think that drop-in nature is really interesting as well. A lot of the supports we see now are quite short-term. It's like a slotted time each week. Do you feel like there's merit to having a more drop-in based system for the people you're supporting?
Absolutely. Because obviously with what they're going through as well, and if their voices are kind of telling them not to engage with people, and it takes a lot of trust to build the automatic model that a lot of services go with, there's nothing wrong with at all, but that can be very difficult for people to stick to. When, especially if they're trying to build up like confidence with people and build up trust. Having that space to be able to just come in when they need us is really important. And voice hearing is something that people can recover from and learn to live with. However, there's a lot of people will live with that for the rest of their life. So there's not really a goal which in 6 weeks they can it's going to be over for them. So being able to come to us whenever they need us is really important.
Yeah, because I suppose it's not something that there's a cure for. There's no quick fixes, but it is that learning to live with it and manage symptoms as well. So just moving on to voice hearing more generally, it is something there's a lot of stigma and taboo around. I feel like it's a topic where there's a lot of misconceptions as well. What are some of the misconceptions you see around voice hearing?
So one of the kind of main things that we see a lot is obviously the main media portrayal is that people are going to hurt someone. You look at most movies where there's someone who's schizophrenic, they are the baddie in the movie, they are the person that's going to cause harm to other people, which is not the reality we live. We work one-to-one with people. We know they're some of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. Yes, they can have voices that can be quite violent and horrible. However, the danger is actually they would rather hurt themselves than hurt other people. Yeah.
And I suppose there is all this stigma around people being violent or dangerous, but the evidence just doesn't support it.
Not at all.
People are usually more of a risk to themselves than they are to others. I've absolutely seen the evidence there. So thinking again about the Hearing Voices Network in Dundee, how do you know that you're making a difference? What are some of the things you see that say to you that the Hearing Voices Network is doing what it's there to do?
So one of the things that we see quite regularly is we have our community members go on to volunteer with us. So that can be from anything from our kitchen to running their own groups to doing peer support training with us. And we see that quite regularly, and it's really wonderful to see kind of people being able to improve and kind of building their own confidence and actually enjoying things that they love. That it's not just about their mental health, but it's about activities that they enjoy doing, and it's just wonderful.
So it's very person-centred, and your goals are very much aligned with their goals then, and helping them achieve the things they want to achieve. Well, that's really good. So looking forward, what does the future hold for Haven?
So, like any small charity, we'll see what we can do with the funding that we have. But we are looking at kind of broadening out. I'm currently doing outreach training to other organisations about voice hearing, so that if anyone wants to get in contact with me, they can. And it gives a bit of an insight about what we do. It gives a bit of an insight about voice hearing, because there's so many people who are voice hearers that are not getting a chance to because once they trust an organisation, they might not go to another one. So it's important to kind of reach out and talk to people about that. We are doing more open days and looking at getting kind of more information out about voice hearing. And just generally expanding the service that we are currently offering and what more we can do.
So a lot planned, a lot going on
Yes.
then. So the outreach training, is this something you've started doing already?
Yes,
Did you mention?
we have. I've done a couple of the trainings so far. I've done ones with Razak and Positive Steps, and they were both like wonderful sessions. And we've got a few booked in for other organisations as well.
And I'm curious, what was that initial feedback like, and what are the sort of questions you're getting from professionals when they come to these trainings?
So the initial feedback was that it's something that was really needed and that they found it quite enjoyable. And it's just a good opportunity to kind of talk about things that people aren't talking about. They're just kind of dealing with and again, more and more organisations are dealing with it. It's just they're not aware how the best way to kind of talk to people is and kind of like not upset people. People are worried about feeding into someone's delusions and like thought processes, and it's just having that open conversation. So sometimes the training can be a little bit formal, other times it's just having a conversation about who they're supporting and how the best practice is to kind of support someone.
Because I suppose we mentioned how stigmatised the topic is, and I was curious, like, do people feel scared to have these conversations, or are they scared to talk about voice hearing?
People are scared to talk about it. They're scared they're going to say the wrong thing or upset someone, or that they're going to trigger it worse for them and their voices are going to be worse after they've left them. It's just being able to have those conversations more freely, because if we can have those conversations more freely, then we're supporting voice hearers to be able to talk about it as well.
Yeah, and like I've always thought it's really important that we do speak about stigmatised topics and the things people maybe don't want to speak about, because it's just the light of day that brings knowledge to the conversations, isn't it? And you mentioned open days as well, holding open days. Tell me a bit more about the plan for those.
Yeah, so in the next few months we will be having our Haven Open Day. I'm looking forward to kind of doing more kind of sessions like that. Just to basically, even though we've been there for a long time, a lot of people don't know exactly what we do. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of reviving the Hearing Voices Network Dundee. It's giving people an opportunity to come in and do like taster sessions and come in and ask staff questions, but this is open for like organisations to come in and find out about us and what we're up to. So it's a real opportunity to find out more.
And what are the taster sessions? Is this like a taste of the activities on offer?
Yeah, so we're going to do some things like, because we've been doing a lot of life skills in our kitchen and like our art group and things. We've got lots of different groups going, so it'll be little sessions around that as well.
That's absolutely fantastic. That's brilliant. And you've mentioned the groups as well that you run at the Haven. Mm-hmm. I think we touched on some of them when we did the tour. Mm-hmm. But if you could just give me a bit of a flavour of some of the groups that the Haven currently runs.
We have our art group and a photography group. We have a history group, support group, a women's group, a men's voice hearing group, and meditation.
That's a huge spread of groups at the Hearing Voices Network.
So yeah, we're basically trying to cover the fact we've got the support side of things so people can talk about their mental health, but we're also trying to focus on the fact that there's so much more to people than just their mental health, and there's other activities, and there's so much more to their personality that they can get involved with. Oh, and sewing and cooking. Wow. Yeah, I knew I was going to forget something.
So looking at the whole person and not just the fact that they hear voices, but who they are with that as well. They all sound quite self-descriptive, like photography, art, but the history group I'm interested to hear a bit more about.
Yeah, so it started as a kind of local history group, but I think they've kind of covered lots of different topics and stuff now. Yeah. And it's actually one of our most popular groups. It's something that people really enjoy and get a lot out of. Very discussion-based, but they watch documentaries. They've done some trips with it as well. It's fantastic.
That's brilliant. So tell me about some of those trips they've had as well.
So they've been to the V&A, and there's a few more that they're planning on going into in the future, which I'm not 100% sure, but I know they're going on a few more.
But there's definitely more trips to come. That's fantastic. Well, that's been really good, and I'm just going to wrap up with our fun question now. So what's one book that you think everyone interested in mental health should read?
Now, this is a really difficult question for me because I am the biggest reader, and I read, but I also collect books, so there's two different hobbies. But I would say that Matt Haig's Midnight Library is a really important book for people to read about mental health. Okay. I will say it comes with a trigger warning because it is one of those books that it discusses suicide in detail. Yeah. But it's a wonderful way of, it sounds a weird thing to say, it's a wonderful way of looking at it, and that to be less scared of a subject that we are scared to talk about. Yeah. It's written by someone who has first-hand experience of suicide and his own experience with it, and you can actually feel his own experience while reading it. Yeah. But it's just it is a very good book to look at if you were kind of feeling the need to kind of explore it a bit more.
Yeah, and I feel like suicide's another one of those topics where people are a bit scared to talk about it or think about it. But if you could very quickly sum up the plot or the theme to this book, how would you describe it?
So the main character is very suicidal and is actually taking her own life. She wakes up in a library that is run by her school librarian, who is then given her the opportunity to go back into the lives that she thinks would have been better.
Okay.
And to see if they would have been a better scenario if she took a different choice. So, you know, if you decided to actually go to do that hobby that you never decided to do, but you decided to chicken out of it, or if you actually went down the right side of the road rather than the left that day, and what would have happened instead. Because I think once people are feeling so low, sometimes they can think that their life is so horrible because they didn't take the opportunities at some point.
Yeah.
However, that's never usually the case until you go through these experiences. You go, well, actually, that wasn't much better than I thought it was going to be.
Right, okay.
And it gives you a kind of new perspective on what your life was like in the first place.
Sounds quite deep, like a bit of a multiverse story, actually.
Yeah.
So that's The Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
Yes.
I'll need to go check that out.
It's a really good book.
Well, anyway, thank you so much, Rachel, for joining us today on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you again soon.